With the 2024 NFL season officially just hours away from kickoff, the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs open not only the NFL season, but their own seasons with the same expectations. But one has a different purpose. With many teams vying against them, one of these teams is going to be the hunted, and this other team is amongst the many hunters. Want to find out who I believe is going to take this game? Find out next on the 2024 opening kickoff edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style.
The autumn winds move like the thunderous waves of Neptune's sacred palace. And here, amongst the blackened soil, lies the ragged hands, worn, torn, and callous. They await with cunning and vicious prowess, for the warriors have returned.
Come on, Dutch! Don't do it! Woo! No way! Woo! 85! Crying out loud! Are you kidding me? You're driving me nuts!
But behold,
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for spending some time with us here on the opening kickoff edition of Gridiron Gab Pro Style. And we are finally here. It is opening kickoff time. We are back, and this is our second season, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And before we get started, guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you like this content and you want it coming to you. And before we get started, just got to take care of a little bit of business. There, as you guys know, I am a part of a huge crew of groups on Facebook, and I have to give them a gab out. NFL and NBA enthused, these guys are very much in tune to the things that I post, and that they've got several members that are a part of the Gridiron Gab Pro Style family. So big gab out to you guys. But I gotta break this down a little bit because, as I said, if you guys come and you comment, whether it's on the show or whether you comment on anything content that I post, I'm going to hit you up. And I'm going to keep receipts. Now, I put these shows out because it makes food for thought. Now, with that being said, there are so many of you, when I put out the show, the Jets could very well beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Many of you took this as a joke. Now, if you guys go watch the show, and I laid out some very good points that you would have to take heed to. I mean, you don't necessarily have to take heed to it, but the reality of it is these are very good points because the Jets do have a very good defense. But there are a lot of people that laughed and cackled and said, is this a joke? Or that's funny. And listen, you can joke about it. You can laugh about it. I mean, hey, reality of it is, hey, it's there. But you can't argue with what the facts are. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to struggle on defense in a lot of ways, and people don't want to believe me, but they are.
Bruh. What a dumbass!
But without further ado, let's get into the matchup that we're here to discuss, which is opening night, or kickoff night, if you will. We're going to kick off with two games. One's going to be in Brazil, but that's Friday night. We've got a game that is coming to you Thursday night, and it is a rematch of the AFC title game. Now, let's look at what we have. The Kansas City Chiefs, of course, are the team that a large portion of the media are selecting to go three-peat. Now, me personally, I'm not on that bandwagon because at the end of the day, the teams continuously get better and they find different ways to find your weaknesses. And now here, with that being said, I will say this. Do I believe that this game will determine the AFC? Not by a long shot. I believe this game will go a long way in determining who will win the AFC. Now, as most people have already found out, that the Kansas City Chiefs will be without their top free agent signing in the offseason, Hollywood Marquise Brown, at least for this game. And that means newly signed Juju Smith-Schuster will more than likely step in to fill that void. Although they still have Rashee Rice and rookie Xavier Worthy, not to mention Sky Moore. Now, what really bothers me with this matchup is, as I said before, listen, I'm not a guy to come up with excuses, but the truth of the matter is that the Baltimore Ravens did not play their game. Now, with newly acquired Derrick Henry, I don't see any reason that Todd Monken deviates from what he's always done, which is run the football and be creative with spreading the ball around, not putting Lamar Jackson in situations where he's got to make plays with his arm. Now, I don't want to jump too far along the line, but I want to look at Kansas City's offense versus Baltimore's defense. Now, Nnamdi Madubuike is now going to lead that charge up front along with Michael Pierce and Travis Jones. Adafe Owe, Roquan Smith, and Kyle Van Noy are going to be the guys that are going to be responsible for getting to the quarterback and beating this Kansas City offensive line, which in my opinion, if you think about the creativity that the Baltimore Ravens defense brings to the table, defensive coordinator Zach Orr is going to be able to replicate some of those same things we've seen throughout the Ravens history. But the question is going to be is he going to be a blitz-heavy type of defensive coordinator? Well, I truly believe that the difference between a lot of Ravens defenses of the past is that they don't have a proven pass rusher. Could that be an issue with this Kansas City offensive line? Possibly, because you almost know who the cast of characters are. Now, in the secondary of the Baltimore Ravens, it is the normal cast of characters that you saw in the AFC title game, from Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Brandon Stevens. And honestly, this is a situation where you got some really good, talented players on the outside. Not to mention Kyle Hamilton is probably going to be matched up in these blitz-type situations with Travis Kelce. And that touchdown grab that Kelce made in the AFC title game, which was a phenomenal coverage by Kyle Hamilton, but Travis Kelce was just better. Now, with each player with one more year under his belt, the advantage has to go to Kyle Hamilton, because Travis Kelce is on the other side of 35.
Bruh.
And honestly, Kyle Hamilton's getting better, stronger, and faster. And to me, he's going to be one of the reasons why I see this game tipping the scales. Because he is such he's the new prototype at safety. He is the guy that everybody wants to have on their team because he's got that speed, he's got that size, and he is just a darn good tackler, and he hits, and he creates plays. That's what you want out of the new age safeties, is they have to make big plays, and they have to come up big in big moments. Probably the one thing that I would honestly say would have been a problem, but I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs trying to run this football. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe with the absence of Hollywood Brown missing, they try to run the football. Who knows? Who knows what Andy Reid and company have planned? But I see this being an advantage for the Ravens, being that Hollywood Brown's not out there. Now, granted, you do have Xavier Worthy's blistering speed out there, as well as Sky Moore. And let's not forget, you still have Noah Gray, and not to mention the ever-aforementioned Travis Kelce. But the truth here is, I believe Patrick Mahomes is going to have to run this ball some in this game for them to win this game. Not sure he's going to want to do that. But I see the advantage on the defensive side. I see the advantage on this side of the football as going to the Ravens. Because as I said, this offensive line, regardless of what people want to say, got away with a lot in the playoffs.
What?
Just saying. But let's look at when Baltimore takes over the football. Now, the big deal in the offseason was the signing of Derrick Henry. This was a huge signing across the NFL landscape because you take a guy who has just been a beast of a running back the whole time he's been here. And he's officially 30 now. But when you look at a guy in Derrick Henry who has almost rushed for 10,000 yards, he'll probably pass 10,000. He's at 9,500 yards, and he's got 90 touchdowns. Now, I want you guys to think about something. This is a guy who has scored 10 touchdowns in 6 consecutive seasons, dating all the way back to 2018. That was his 3rd year in the league, guys. Now he gets to run behind an offensive line that's pretty much predicated on it. That's all they do is run. And then you have to think about, okay, I got to make sure I get Lamar Jackson. I can't allow him to get free. This was probably the worst case scenario for anybody in the NFL. I mean, listen, there should have been 31 other teams say, hey, look, we got to sign him just so Baltimore doesn't get him. And see, not everybody thinks like I do.
What the?
Who cares?
But here's the thing. Kansas City's run defense has been leaky. They haven't been bad, but they've been leaky. And I'm gonna be straight up honest. I don't know if Kansas City's gonna be able to stop this all night. And that was the thing. When you look back at the game last year and listen, go and watch go look at my channel and look up the show that I did on how the Ravens. Go look at the show. Ravens swoop in as top contender to foil the Chiefs three-peat. Only 167 people checked this out, but I challenge you guys to go watch this because some of the major points that I make in that show are the same points that I'm going to make that are going to allow Baltimore to win this game. That's without Hollywood Brown. Now, so many people are going to say, well, if Kansas City loses this game, it's because of Hollywood Brown not being there. You could make that argument, but the reality of it is Baltimore cannot get blown out of this game because, one, it's in Arrowhead. You can't afford to lose this game. This is a game that can't lose for the fact that it would be just a huge momentum boost for the Kansas City Chiefs. It would be a huge boost of confidence for them going into their season because they've got a brutal schedule as well. But I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking it's going to be won in the trenches. Because everybody says winning in the trenches, but the reality of it is if Baltimore is able to dominate with their run game, guess what Monken's going to do? He's going to continue to feed Derrick Henry. He's going to find ways to get Lamar Jackson on the edge. He's going to find ways to get him on the outside, change the release point to keep guys like Chris Jones away from, with ways to keep that pass rush with George Karlaftis and Drew Tranquill and Felix Uzama. All of these guys, they're going to try to keep these guys away from Lamar Jackson. And if that happens, like I said, I like their chances. Everybody's talking about Justin Reed and Brian Cook. Look, the point is what the strength of Kansas City's defense is forcing you into throwing the football. I think Monken learns from his mistake in the AFC title game, and they run this thing 30 times. They don't get out of sorts because they get down a couple scores. They're not going to do that. The reality of it is they're going to stay within themselves. They're going to stay within their identity, which is running the football. I think they do that. I think they expose a huge weakness in Kansas City's front seven. Now, these guys are pretty good against the run, but the thing that bothers me with Kansas City is, can they withhold it? Can they keep their eyes from being deceived? I think what happens is Monk has had a whole offseason to listen to guys talk about how horrible he called the AFC title game, and I think he learns from it. And they come out and they run the football at least 30 times compared to the near 16, 15 times they ran it in that game. And Lamar Jackson had 6 carries all by himself. And they didn't run it that badly. They didn't. I think they just got a little bit ahead of themselves and they got a little bit panicky and they decided, hey, we got to throw the football. Kansas City understands. They built that defense to be able to withstand teams that are going to try to catch up. That's the kind of defense they have, a catch-up defense. If a team is patient and they can just sledgehammer away, until they get leaks, they'll be just fine. I mean, because between, you've got Derrick Henry as well as Justice Hill, who is a physical runner. And then not to mention you use Zay Flowers in an assortment of ways. But we also got to think about, they in the receiving core, they still have Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman, not to mention the guy who burst onto the scene out of Boston College. I'm sure he's happy right now with the victory they had Monday night. In Zay Flowers. See, this is a guy that can lull you to sleep, especially when you got Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar. You let this guy get behind you, and if Lamar Jackson gets on the perimeter, and he's allowed, Zay Flowers is allowed to get behind the defense, it could spell trouble.
Winner! Supreme victory!
As for the game, I think it's going to be too much. The Hollywood Brown situation is going to be too much to overcome. I think Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens come out. Even though they're playing this game in Arrowhead, I think they come out. They run the football. Derrick Henry goes over 100 yards, possibly more. I think Lamar Jackson has a good running game. And he probably won't even throw for 200 yards. I think they're going to run this thing down Kansas City's throat. And they're going to win this game. I would say Baltimore wins this game 24-14.
Damn you! Dumb shit! Dumb shit!
But let me know what you guys think about Thursday night's opening night kickoff between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you leave a comment down below. And please, like I said, no sarcastic stuff or I will put you out there. I don't want to do that. I want this to be a great conversation. If you have opinions, please throw them out there. Please do that. And did not have a Gabber of the week and did not have a Gabbing group of the week. But I will let you guys know when I do. Also, the Instagram, my personal Instagram at Mr. CeeLo. And also join the group, Gridiron Gab Pro Style on Facebook. Leave your comments. And if there's something you want Mr. CeeLo to address on the show, please do so. But until the next time, don't forget to join us again. Same Gab channel, same Gab platform.
But behold, there is a warm breeze that comes from the west. The blazing sounds of victory fuel their everlasting quest. It is a call to arms, for they are here. An army that has the will to challenge and the will to dare.